Let's get it. That was good.
Okay.
There's nothing on the screen.
I'm gonna have to say, open it up.
Is it on?
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, so hit the on button.
That is that.
No, the camera just sorry, live guys, we're just playing with another camera here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think.
Hit the red button, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Alright, good morning. Today is Daf Yud. We're going to start from Daf Tes Amud Beis all the way in the bottom. Today we're going to learn about where exactly you put the dam, where do you put the shemen, on what part of the finger. And then we're going to go into a whole sugya of yamin. Where do we know the right hand? Do you have to do the right hand? Machlokes, and where do we learn it from? Such as in Kmitza in our sugya, Mitzayra and Chatas, the sugya of Eivarim going up to Kevesh, the morning, Kabbalah and Zrika. And even in Kmitza itself, there's two parts of Kmitza. There's the Kmitza, and then there's Kiddush Kaimetz, is where you take the Kmitza and you put it into a Kli, because that have to be done by Yamin. That's today's sugya. Says the Gemara on Daf Tes Amud Beis in the bottom. So, as Akdama, we'll just go back a little bit to what we ended off yesterday. We were talking about the 4 times it says smile left by Mitzayr. The Gemara said the first one is the Gufin, to teach us that you need a left hand. So how do I know other places it's not left, it's right? So it says it twice. But if it says it twice, then it's a double negative. And that would come to say that by us, by Mitzayra, it's even the right. So that's why I have a third time. If I have a third smile, so maybe it's going to say that all over the Torah it has to be left. So therefore I have a 4th smile. So that's why I have 4. That's Reb Zera. Says, Omalei Reb Yirmiyah Reb Zera, he did such a fine job explaining the 4 smiles by Mitzayra. Why don't you tell us the rest of the Pshat in the Pasuk? There's a lot of extra. Why? Because we have the 2 parishes. We have the parasha of the Asher, the rich Mitzayra, and then we have the parasha of the poor Mitzayra. And it's redundant. So what do we do with all the redundancies? Says the Gemara, now the Nekuda of the Gemara right now is not Yemanis, but rather Bayin. Why does it say Bayin on the thumb and the big toe? Later on the Gemara is going to touch why we need Yemanis. But right now we're talking about Al-Bayin Ragloi. Al-Bayin Yodai and Bayin Ragloi. Dichsiv b'shemen d'mitzayra. Rashi says over here, sticking Asher v'ani, both of them. In other words, both of the shemen, in both parashas, by the rich and by the poor, Lamali, what's the Gemara's kasha, like he says in the parentheses, because it says Al-Dam. Where do you put the oil? So let's go through it again one more time. How does the mitzvah work? You shech the nasham, and you take the blood, you put it in the kohen's palm, half, the left palm, and he takes the blood and he puts it on the mitzvah's ear, his right ear. He puts it on his thumb, his right thumb, and on his big toe, his right big toe. Then he takes oil, and he dips in 7 times, and he does 7 azois towards the Kodesh Kadosh. Only after that he takes oil, and he puts it where? On the blood. Wherever you put blood, that's where he puts the oil. So ask the Gemara, if the Torah tells us that he's putting the oil on top of the blood, so why do I need the Torah to tell me that he put it on his finger? Obviously, the blood is on his finger, and I'm putting the oil on the blood, so obviously it's on his finger. So why do I need Al-Bayin Yodai and Manis and Bayin Ragloi and Manis? Says the Gemara, Chad lahakshir tzadodin, the Chad lifsoil tzidei tzadodin. In other words, here's the thumb. The Torah says Al. What does Al mean? On top of, usually. Says the Gemara, no. Over here, Al means next to. Next to would mean on the side. is kosher. But what about underneath the thumb? That's not al. Rashi brings a pasuk where it says va'olav mate menashe. So it doesn't mean on top of mate menashe. It means next to mate menashe. Fine. The word olav doesn't mean necessarily like we have in Hebrew on top of. What?
Where's not good?
The tzad. Al means on the nail. So we're saying it's not daft on the nail. It's even on the side of the thumb, but not underneath the thumb. This is better, man. What do you want to open it? Says the Gemara, it says by the Osher, Al dam ha'osham, Val mekoim dam ha'osham, l'may asu. So Rashi says the pshat is, why do I need two psukim? One that says that you put the oil on the dam, and the other one says you put it on the mekoim dam, on the place of the dam. Because he says, why does it use a different lashon? It should say either both places should say makom or both places should say dam. But anyways, Pasha is similar. Says the Gemara, I need two psukim. Because Rachman al dam ha'osham hava amina isayeh in yiskanech loy. That the oil has to go on top of blood, literally on top of blood. So if there's no blood, let's say it got washed off, you're not yoitza according to this, because it says al dam, on top of the blood. No, it's not necessary to have the blood. Even it has to be in the same area as the blood, the same makom. Because Rahmana al makom, havamina dafkan is kaneach. I would have a havamina that you have to remove the blood because it says makom. It doesn't say put it on the blood. It says in the place of the blood. What would be the problem putting it on the blood? It would be a problem of chatzitza. Why? Because the Torah says al bayim. Put it on your finger, on the thumb. It doesn't mention anything about blood. Therefore, the Torah does mention because Rahman al Makoim Avamina Dakin is Kaneach, Al Isa Ema have a Chatzitza. Why? Because al bayan, Kamash Malon, al Dam, Asham, put it on top of the blood. So either or works. Either you put it on top of the blood or you put it on the Makoim of the blood, they both work. Omer Ma'achad Uksiv al Dam Asham, Val Makoim Dam Asham, Uksiv Yimonis B'Dam. When it talks about the blood, it says the right. And when you put the oil, we said, you put the oil on top of the blood. And where's the blood? On the right finger, on the right thumb, on the right big toe. Al boyin yodei monis. Al boyin raglei monis. T'ksiv b'shem in the mitzvah hashavani. Lamali. Major problem. If I know that the shemen goes on top of the blood, and I know the blood is on the right side, so then what I need to tell me, why does the Torah need to tell us that the oil goes on the right side? Obviously, it's on the right side. Where else does it go? It goes on top of the blood, which is on the right side. So it's completely extra. Elo Marava. Elo Marava, what does Elo mean? A brand new pshat. In other words, forget about the pshatim that we just said in Smile. All the four smiles, get rid of. We're going to a new pshat. A new limud. Yod likmitza. So when we have two words that are the same, the mumchem in zvachim, what is it called? Gzer shava. It's gzer shava yod. In other words, by mitzvah it says yad, it says regel, and it says oizen. What do I do with all these words? Says the Gemara. Each one I'm going to learn something else. Yad likmitza. It says the word yad by kmitza, not really does it say yad. What does it say by kmitza? Kaf. Right? Okay, so what is it? Close enough. Why is it close enough? We said uba koyin v'shava koyin. As long as it means the same thing, yad and kaf. Regel chalitza. So I learned from the yad that I learned kmitza that kmitza has to be done with the right hand. Not from small and only by mitzvah small and other places. Even no, I have a real full-fledged gzer shava. Just like by mitzvah it says yad and it's bimin, so too by kmitza it says yad and bimin. Regel l'chalitza. And by yevama, person dies without children, and his wife falls to Yibum, to the oldest brother or to the other brothers. If they don't want to marry her, they do chalitza. And in the ceremony of chalitza, she removes his shoe. Which shoe? The right shoe. Because it says regel by mitzayra and it says regel by yibama, so we know it's the right. Oizen l'ritzia. If an Eved Ivri after 6 years wants to remain by his master, so we put a hole through his ear. Which ear? The right ear. Small is the usher. We have to take out the word on it. So we have 4 smiles. One smile is going to, according to Rava, one smile is going to tell us the gufa, that a mitzayra, you put the oil in the kohen's left hand. But the question is, smile number 2, which is in the parsha of Asher, the first parsha, what do I do with that? Smile. It can't be the ani. Ani is a mistake, as we're going to see soon. We don't darshan.
That's the one should be the second one, not the first one.
No, in Asher there's 2. And in Ani there's 2. It's 4 total. 2 by Asher, 2 by Ani. As we're going to see in the Gemara in a second, we're not going to darshan any smile in the second parsha. And the Gemara is going to tell us why. But right now we only have one smile that's extra. What does it come to tell us? Omer Rav Shisha B'Reder Avidi, Livsod Yamin B'Koyin B'Mitzayra. Not only does the Torah tell us that you have to do with the left hand, but it also tells us that only the left, and you cannot use right, because usually the Gemara says, I'll think, well, we always use the right. The Torah is just saying, I could also use the left maybe. No, the Torah is saying only left. Don't say, where you're not allowed to use the left, you're supposed to use the right. The Malkum Shenisraps is small, and again, Shenisraps is it's like a Kavachayim. You certainly should be able to use the right. Says the Gemara. Fine. So that's why I have small number 2 to tell me that not only could I use a smile, but I have to use a smile. I cannot use Yimid. The Idov smallest. So now, smile number 3 and number 4, which are in the second parasha of Ani, what do I do with them? Lamai also. And he sticks in parentheses, he's probably right. The Yad, the regular Yimonis, the Ani. And what do I do with it? The Kitzer, what do I do with the entire parasha of Ani? Says the Gemara, here, we have a parasha in the Torah. And then when the Torah goes and repeats itself, word for word, basically, again, what is the Torah coming to tell us? Not to start making drushes and limudim, but the Torah added 1 or 2 things in the parasha, so the Torah is telling us, learn those 2 things, learn that one thing. And by us, the Torah is telling us a chiddush of Oil V'Yared. Oil V'Yared is that if this Mitzayra is poor, instead of him bringing an animal, he brings a bird. And if he's really poor, he brings flour, which is very cheap. It's a chiddush. So once the Torah is telling me this chiddush of Oil V'Yared, I don't go and start darshaning Yamin, smile. Those words just come, basically tell me the whole parasha again, to say the one chiddush that the parasha comes to tell us. And over here the chiddush was Oil V'Yared.
By the meal,
By the?
when the darshan is the small, like the meal,
The whole part.
for the Yidin.
You're saying the
Saying the
Gufay,
chapter from the word.
Rava doesn't darshan anymore. According to who?
No.
According to Ziri, before we had 4 smiles and he darshan, he finally after 4 he came up that the rest of the Torah is Yamin. Rava doesn't go that route. Rava goes Yad Zereshava that it's Yamin. When he's not learning out from 1 and to say a mir here and a ribui anywhere else.
What if you do the second small?
Yeah, that he uses. That we said not to say that also smile Yamin and smile. Dafka smile.
The thing is not darkening the words now, smaller than it is. Just darkening the whole part.
Omer Rabbi Barachano, Omer Shimon ben Lakish. From Mokoim Shenemer. Now, whoever learns Zvachim did a lot of good Chazara, to close the Gemara in our home right now. Till then, the sugi is pretty much word for word. But as I was preparing this, I realized that I don't know the sugi very well either. So it's good. It's good Chazara. Omer Rabbi Barachano, Omer Shimon ben Lakish. From Mokoim Shenemer Etzba, V'kuhuna, Eina Elim. If the Torah says the word etzba and a koyin, it means it has to be done with your right hand. Now, the Gemara is going to go through all different things that might say one or the other or both. How does it work? So the Gemara says, to begin with, we start off, because he said, if you just read his word simply, it would mean you need both. You need both words, etzba and kuna, and that would mean to us that you have to use the right hand. By chatos, it says one time, it says betzbai, but it also says koyin. And therefore, I learned from Mitzvah the Psiv, koyin is etzbai. It says the word koyin and the word etzba. Haimonis. And by Mitzvah it means yamin. So too, by chatos, when the koyin dips his finger in the blood and he puts it on the top karen, on the horns that are on the four corners of the mizbeach, I learned that out because it says the word koyin and it says the word etzba, and that means it has to be done with the right finger. As the Gemara, in our sugya, kmitza does not mention etzba. It says kuhuna. Snan chametz b'smol apostle. We don't have the etzba, but it says koyin. And we know that kmitza has to be done with yimid. Omar Rava. So remember, who says this pshat? Rava. Rava comes along and says, no, it doesn't have to be both like we understood. Oy etzba, oy kuhuna. And since by kmitza it says kuhuna, so that's enough for us to learn yimid. When you shech the noila, you cut it up, and 9 kohanim perform the avodah of bringing up the oila up the ram, and to put it on the fire. First they put it on the side, and they take it from there and they put it on the fire. So, kohen number 1, he holds in his hand the head of the oila. We're talking about a sheep here, it's kind of light, and the right leg.
What's the kind of soap?
They put it down by yeah. But I think it's like by the side.
That's a mission.
You go from cabbage to the side. Fine. So this right leg, what's the most important part of the animal? The head. But since it doesn't have a lot of meat, so he takes a part that has meat on it, which comes right after the head, which would be the right thigh, the right leg. So the right leg, how does it look? There's an incision, right? The part that you remove from the animal is kind of gross. It has bones and muscle and all that thing. So that part that is cut, he puts towards himself, and the only thing you see is the skin of the animal. But how does he hold it? He puts the head of the animal in his right hand, and he puts the leg of the animal in his left hand. So now we see that he's using his left. You have to be matter of everything in the oila. Nothing, no part of the oila can the kohen eat. This is referring, the akrova is the halifa, the environment. It's not. He holds the right regel in his left hand. But what you see, so it should be nice for the mizbeach, is a skin. So it's a problem. Why? It says hakoyin. Hakoyin would mean right.
How is he supposed to hold?
So don't hold it. So let another kohen hold it.
We have not going.
So that's not a problem. We said by comment we have to repeat it. Get another one. Something that's essential for kapara, such as the zrika by mitzvah, it's essential. Or the kmitza in our sugya is essential. But the evarim on the kevish is not essential. Explains Rashi by us. Why? Because you could pass it from one kohen to the other. You don't have to literally walk up the kevish. Or, another thing Rashi says, you could cut it up on the mizbeach, on top. You don't necessarily have to cut it downstairs. Rashi in Zvachim says something else. It's interesting to point out. Rashi in Zvachim says that it's not necessary. If you miss that step, it's not. So Rashi in Zvachim is basically saying he's learning the word kapara, literally kapara. Over here, Rashi is learning the word kapara as the avodas. What's necessary for the avodah? Not so much kapara per se, like Yom Kippur kapara, but part of the avodah. Is it a necessary step in the avodah or not? We can get around it by passing it from time to time.
That's something that's funny because when we were talking about leaving, he said it wasn't necessary stuff, but if you did it outside,
Right.
then it becomes
And I pointed
valid.
out the mitzui is the same thing.
And here,
Yeah.
he's saying it's not a necessary step,
And therefore,
but if you did it
Do it,
with
you
your
smile.
left hand, it's still good.
Right, because like I pointed out when we're learning that sugya, when there's mitzui also, mitzui adam is not necessary. You don't have to squeeze the animal. If you don't squeeze the bird and squeeze out it's not necessary. And you can do it anywhere on the mizbeach. So you see that you could do it anyway. It's only when you go b'chutz that's a psul in the avodah. Since it's not, even though it's not necessary, but you do a psul in the avodah, then it ruins it.
Right.
But anything else is not a psul in the avodah. So over here, using the left is not a psul in the avodah. You're not in a place of psul avodah either. So therefore, it's okay. Take the Gemara. Right? It's one of the four avodas. You have to do Kabbalah. You have to accept the blood in a kli. Uksipa, kuhuna, and it says kuhuna, so that would mean with the right hand. Zu, Kabbalah Sadam. Usnan, Kibo Besmoil Pasal, the Rebbe Shimon Machshir. So what do I do with Reb Shimon? How does Reb Shimon say that it's kosher to accept the blood in your left hand? It says kuhuna means dafka with the right hand. Reb Shimon Kohamris, you asked me a question on Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon, Tarti boy. Reb Shimon is the one that holds you need both the word kohen and the word etzba. And since you don't have both in that pasuk by Kabbalah, so you don't have to do it with the right hand. Reb Shimon Tarti, why are you saying that? But Tanya Reb Shimon Oimer kol mokem shenemer yad in early yamin, etzba in early yamin. So you see that as long as it says the word etzba, it means yamin. You don't need kuhuna and etzba. Says the Gemara, you're right. Sometimes you need two words, kuhuna and etzba. Sometimes you need only one. Etzba loy bay kuhuna. If it says the word etzba, you don't need two words. Etzba is very strong. Etzba tells me it has to be yamin. Kuhuna, if it says the word kuhuna, boya etzba. So let's think for a second. If it says etzba, what? Yeah, exactly. That's the Gemara's kasha. If it says etzba, it means right. If it says kohen, it doesn't mean right. But together with etzba, it means right. So say etzba and don't say kohen. Elu kohen lama. So then what is the point of the Torah of Talmud kohen? It comes to say a Mordig Chiddush. A kohen has to be a kohen. How is a kohen a kohen when he wears all his begadim? Shmoyne begadim by a kohen gadol, arba begadim by a kohen hedyoid, but he needs to be wearing his begadim. Abyuram beis, v'harei, zrigo, v'lo yiksibo elo kuhuna. Again, you're telling me you need one of the two, according to Rav. And Zriko says, kuhuna. Usnan zorak b'smoil pasul, v'lo polig Rebbe Shimon. According to, this is not good over here for the live people. The many live people that are our big live guy is right here. We did it for him and he's sitting right next to us. Maybe he's watching the stream over there. I don't know.
People will just come here.
Okay. Avi's on the plane right now?
Yeah.
He's watching us live. Hi,
All
Avi.
allow.
The first Daf Yomi share live
United.
on United. Don't worry. Yeah. The streaming is not working well. It hears every other word. Fine. So, but according to Reb Shimon, you need, if it says kuhuna, it's not good enough. You need etzba. So then why does Reb Shimon hold by zrika that you need the right hand? It doesn't say etzba, it only says kuhuna. It makes more sense to say that we hold like Rava that one of them is enough. That if it just says kuhuna, that's why you need the right hand. Shimon is not machur. Omar Abayo, no, it's not true. Probably the Brisa. You didn't realize it's in the Brisa, and over there he says Mefurish, Desanyo, Kibo, Besmoil, Posel, Reb Shimon Machshir. Why is Reb Shimon Machshir? Because it doesn't say Etzba. It only says Kohen. Kuhuna, and one word Kuhuna is not enough. You need Etzba. Tell me you need. Zari Besmoil, Posel, Reb Shimon Machshir. Ve'elo. Pod Omar Rabbi Yad Yad Likmitza. No. Who is the one that said this whole Kiddush, that all you need is the word Etzba? It was Rava. Rava is the one that says, we said in the beginning of the Sukkah, it says Yad by Mitzvah, it says Regel by Mitzvah, you learn the Shu of the Yavama, you learn the Yad of the Kmitza. Why does Rava have to come up with the Gzer Shava of Yad Yad? Mikuhuna Nafka. By Mitzvah it says Kuhuna, by Kmitza it says Kuhuna, it says Kayin, become it's a Kayin. That's enough to tell me that it has to be B&B. Says the Gemara, you're right. Really, I don't need Yad Yad. I have the drasha of Kuhuna. But there's two limudim I need to learn out. Chad l'koimetz, v'chad l'kiddush koimetz. So this is very important. I don't know if we mentioned it throughout the Mishnah. This might be the first time that we're saying it. In Kmitza, first you do like this with your fingers. That's the Kmitza. And then what do? According to most Tanoim, you put it into a kli. You don't take this directly and put it on the mizbeh, you put it into a kli. And that's called Kiddush Kaimetz. Now how do you know, according to Rashi right over here, how do you know that has to be done with the right hand? Putting it into the kli with the right hand. Rashi in Zvachim says, how do you know that the kohen is holding it, the kli in his right hand, another kohen is standing there with his right hand? Fine. But either way, this is probably more meduik for our sugya, that the Maisa Yad, what he's doing with his hand, not holding the kli, but the avodah b'yad, the necessary avodah is done b'yamin.
As opposed to switching it to the left hand and then putting it in the
Right, right, yeah. I mean, the kmitza we know is done with the right from the other person. I don't know if he messed up and he put it in his left, that it's not covered. So that I know from the second drasha. Which drasha we don't know exactly, it's not important. One drasha, Yad Yad, tells us either Kaimetz or Kiddush Kaimetz, and the other drasha, Kuna, tells us either Kaimetz or Kiddush Kaimetz. Ask the Gemara. L'Rebbe Shimon, v'lo by Kiddush Kaimetz. So now we have two drashas. We have Kuhuna and we have Yad Yad, and we have two things to learn from it: Kaimetz, the actual Kmitza, and the Kiddush Kaimetz. So, if you don't need one of the two, if you don't hold of one of the two halachas, let's say you don't hold Kmitza, which everybody holds Kmitza, but Reb Shimon doesn't hold Kiddush Kaimetz, according to some shittus. So then,
right hand.
he doesn't hold, you have to put it in a kli. He says you can take the Kmitza and put it directly on the Mizbeach. Or he would hold that you don't have to do it with your right hand. But even according to the Mandam, it says that Reb Shimon holds you do have to do Kiddush Kaimetz. But he says you can do it with the left hand. Yad Yad Rava Lamali. So now I have an extra limud. Because one limud came for Kaimetz and one came for Kiddush Kaimetz. But then he doesn't hold of Kiddush Kaimetz. He only holds of Kmitza. And for Kmitza I don't need two limudim. I don't need Gzer Shav Yad Yad and the limud of Kuna. So Gemara, Ila Kmitza Gufa, maybe it's coming to teach us Kmitza Gufa. The actual Kmitza. Now, for the actual Kmitza, could Reb Shimon learn it out of the word Kuhuna? No. Why not? Oh, does he need Etzba? There's a trick question. Not according to Rav. According to Reb Shimon, you need two words. You need Etzba and Kuhuna. So the fact that our pasuk by Kmitza says Kayin doesn't teach us anything that has to be Limin according to Reb Shimon. So he has to go somewhere else. Where does he go? Mid Reb Yehuda b'Reder b'Chia nafke. Reb Yehuda b'Reder b'Chia, my time with Reb Shimon. The Omar Kurok Kodesh Kadoshim Hi Kachadus B'Chashim. By a mincha, it says that a mincha is the holy of the holiest, as it's Kodesh Kadoshim, not Kachim Kal. Like a chatos and like an asham. What does that mean? Either it's like a chatos or it's like an asham. Which one is it? Says the Gemara is like both. Balav the biyad or the chatos. If this is only according to Reb Shimon. If he wants to do the avodah, meaning he wants to do kiddush hakoymetz with his hand, he's allowed to do it. Like a chatas, you could do it. But it has to be biyamin, because the chatas we learned before, according to Reb Shimon, has both words. It has etzbang koyim by chatas, and therefore it has to be biyamin. So to kmitza, not kmitza, but the kiddush hakoymetz would have to be biyamin if he wants to do it with his hand. Bala of the kli, and if he wants to put it inside the kli, and from the kli, let's say he doesn't want to get his hand dirty anymore, so he puts the kmitza into the kli, and then from the kli he dumps it onto the mizbeach. That has to be b'smoil. Why? Ka'asham. What kind of asham? Rashi says asham mitzayra, which is problematic. Says the Gemara. So, we have a problem. What do we do with yad yad? What do we do with the gzera shava? He already learns out that mitzvah is being min from this whole chatos. So what do you need yad yad? What's a minchas koite? If a person does an avera and he brings a mincha, what kind of avera does a person do that he brings a mincha? So it could be one of four things. Either, it's pretty easy, two of them have to do with a shvuah, and two of them have to do with tumah. The shvuah, it's either shvuah's bitui or shvuah's edus. He lied, so now he have to bring a carbon, but he can't afford it, so he brings a mincha. So oil b'yayir. Or tumah. Either he went to the Beis Hamikdash b'tumah, or he ate a carbon b'tumah. So he brings a carbon oil b'yayir, he brings a mincha. But since he did an avera, and this svara, we had these exact words the other day. Yeah, the chayta niskar sugya. It's a long time since we had. Mendy's favorite sugya, chayta niskar, privately. Reb Shimon, shlei karboni mohudor, he comments law. Reb Shimon said the reason why the minchas chayta is different than all other menachos. You don't add oil and you don't put levina, is to show the guy, look, you did a bad thing and you're getting a really weak carbon. So maybe the comments will be small, nami b'small discussion. What sugi do we have this by the czar? We had this havamina. Maybe Yisrael should be able to do his carbon because we want to show him that it's not a good thing that he didn't bring. He's not bringing a milcha to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but he's bringing it because he did an avera. So maybe small would be okay to show him. Kamash Malon, that it's not okay. I mean, we should go maybe a little weiter, but then we'd be over on big Yisurim in the Daf Yomi. I don't know. We'll stop here. Should we do a small sugya? Okay, 2 minutes. Let's do a 2-minute sugya here. Mamish a short sugya. But you know what? It's not, because I'll tell you why. Anytime it starts on Amud Beis, you're allowed to continue. That's the dialogue. If it started completely on Amud Aleph, we would have a big problem. Fine.
But the mission would maybe take away your license.
Right. We will not get onto Torah anytime doing this. Have to be very careful.
You said it with such a straightforward sound.
It says in the Mishnah, if a person did kmitza, comments about the yodik sroy or garga melach or kard levana pasuk. If there was any mashu shiba mashu, one grain of salt, literally, in the kmitza, or a grain of levina, or even a pebble, which is not such a big kiddush, but certainly a pebble. All three things make the kmitza puzzle. Kolhan and lamali, what do I need? I get the point. The point is, you can't have anything extra. Even a grain of salt. If I told you a grain of salt, then you'd know, not a grain of levina, and not a pebble, b'chur. Tzricha. You don't tzroy if it's a pebble, mishum delav basakrovi. You can't bring it b'chlav. Ava melech, the basakrovi, it's not only a basakrova, but it is, you do add salt to the mincha. Every mincha gets salt. Ema diskasher, but if the salt was introduced beforehand, by mistake, maybe it should be kosher. It doesn't come together with the mincha to begin with. It only comes later on, right? You put it on the kmitza. What? Right before you put it on the mizbeach. Right before you put the it comes together, not in it or on it, but next to it, but all the way in the beginning. Ema diskasher, it should be part of. It should be okay and shouldn't pass the kmitza. Mashmalon. Everybody should have a great day. Shkoyach. Let's see if this works. No, this is on the volume. Let's see.
By tomorrow, we're talking 10%.
We just touched 10% today.
Just talking about
Are you slacking in?
10% of it.
I think.